There's one thing almost no dog owner wants to face. The moment we realize our four-legged friend, who's been with us for years, is slowing down. Initially, it's just small changes. They sleep more, no longer run to the door every time you come home, or sometimes just quietly watch you from a corner of the room. Most of us think it's just a sign of aging and believe everything will return to normal in a few days. But sometimes, these seemingly normal changes are the body's way of subtly signaling that your dog is entering a completely different phase of life. What makes things more difficult is that dogs can't tell us they're in pain or tired. In fact, instinct makes them try to hide their weakness for as long as possible. In nature, an animal that reveals its weakness is very easily targeted by predators. Despite having lived alongside humans for thousands of years, this instinct still persists in many dogs today. Therefore, instead of complaining of pain or seeking attention, they quietly change little by little, subtle enough to be easily overlooked unless you observe carefully. Unfortunately, many people only understand the meaning of these changes after their pet has passed away. They recall the dog's gaze, its slow steps, or the times it lay still beside them, wondering if it was trying to say something they didn't realize. Therefore, in today's video, we will explore the 5 most important signs that many veterinarians and experienced dog caregivers often observe when a dog is nearing the end of its life. The purpose isn't to make you anxious, but to help you understand your loyal friend better, so that when that moment truly arrives, you won't regret missing what they've always tried to say through silence. Let's start with the first sign, the earliest but often the most overlooked. The first signs are usually not alarming, as they come very subtly. A dog that used to chase you around the house suddenly spends more time lying still. Before, they would wag their tails and run to greet you at the sound of keys or a door opening. But now, they only lift their heads, their tails wagging slightly, and then lie down again. It's not because they no longer enjoy seeing you, but because their bodies no longer have the energy to express joy in the way they used to. You might also notice them starting to seek out quieter places. Instead of lying in the middle of the living room, where the whole family gathers, they choose a less crowded corner, under a table, next to a familiar chair, or on the cool tiled floor. Many people think their dog is becoming withdrawn or prefers solitude. But in reality, this is a very natural reaction as the body gradually weakens. Just like humans who want to find a quiet place to rest when tired, dogs do the same. They begin to conserve their remaining energy and avoid unnecessary stimulation. It's important not to force them back into their old routine. Don't constantly wake them up just to play, and don't drag them out of their resting place thinking more exercise is better. Instead, let them rest in the way their bodies need. If you want to be near them, gently sit beside them, pet them when they actively seek you out, or simply sit quietly so they feel your presence. Sometimes, what an older dog needs most isn't another walk or a new toy. What they need is simply a peaceful place to rest, and to know that, even though they're not as strong as they used to be, the person they love most is still there. That quiet presence will give them a greater sense of security than anything else. After your dog's pace of life slows down, you might notice another, more obvious change. They start eating less and moving around more slowly. The food bowl might still contain their favorite treats, but now they'll only eat a few bites before leaving, or stand silently in front of the bowl for a long time before starting to eat. Many people think their dog is becoming picky or simply more fussy with age. But in reality, as the body weakens, digestion slows down and appetite naturally decreases. This doesn't mean they want to skip meals, but rather that their body no longer has the strength to process the same amount of food as before. At the same time, movement also becomes more difficult. You might see them taking longer to get up after a nap, walking more slowly, climbing stairs more hesitantly, or no longer jumping onto chairs or beds as they used to. Tasks that used to be simple now become a great effort for them. Sadly, many dogs still try to perform old routines just to be near their owners, even when they are very tired. This is when they need your help more than ever. If they can no longer climb onto their favorite chair, gently lift them up. If the floor is too slippery, lay down a rug for them to walk on more securely. Place food and water bowls in convenient locations so they don't have to go too far. Small changes in the house can make your dog feel much better. Most importantly, don't be sad that they are not as strong as they used to be. They are not disappointed that they are getting old. They are just trying to adapt to a body that no longer has the strength it had in its younger years. And what reassures them most isn't being able to run fast or jump high again, but knowing that no matter how they change, their owner will always patiently be there, ready to slow down and accompany them through the final steps of their lives. Not all signs come from physical changes. Sometimes, the first change is in how your dog expresses affection. Many dog owners have shared that in the final months of their pet's life, they become more affectionate than ever. They want to follow their owner from room to room, slowly rest their head on your lap when you sit down, or simply lie very close as if to make sure you're still there. These actions aren't dependence, but rather a way for them to seek peace from the person they trust most. But what confuses many is that after this period, the dog begins to change. They no longer actively follow you, prefer to lie alone more often, and sometimes even refuse the petting they used to enjoy. Many feel disheartened, thinking their dog has become distant or no longer needs them. The reality is quite the opposite. As their bodies become increasingly tired, they need more time to rest and conserve their remaining energy. Choosing a quiet place isn't about distancing themselves from you, but rather a way for their bodies to protect themselves. Another thing many people only realize upon reflection is that their dog's gaze has gradually changed. They may look at you longer than usual, no longer with the playful look of before, but instead with an indescribable sense of peace. It's not necessarily sadness nor fear. It's simply that they seem to be enjoying every moment spent with the person they love. So, if one day you find your dog quietly looking at you, don't turn away. Sit down beside them, gently call their name, stroke their familiar fur, and return their gaze. Sometimes, a game or a gift isn't necessary. Just a few quiet minutes together were enough for the dog to feel that, even as life's journey was drawing to a close, the love between the two of them had never changed. Perhaps this is the sign that most disheartens many dog owners. One day you pick up that familiar ball and throw it, but instead of chasing after it as usual, your dog just glances at it and lowers its head. The rattling of its favorite toy no longer makes its tail wag excitedly. Even the leash no longer excites it. This doesn't mean they've stopped loving things that used to bring them joy, but rather that their bodies are gradually changing. As their energy dwindles, they begin to choose to conserve their energy for things that truly matter. Interestingly, even though they no longer enjoy running and playing, many dogs prefer to spend more time lying next to their owners. They might slowly walk over and lie at your feet while you read, rest their head on your lap while you watch TV, or quietly follow you out onto the porch and lie down to observe everything around them. These seemingly ordinary moments become their greatest joys. They no longer need races or hours-long games. What makes them happy now is simply being close to the people they love. This is also the time for owners to change the way they express their love. Instead of trying to keep their dog active as before, learn to slow down with them. When going for a walk, let them walk at their own pace. Don't rush to pull the leash when they want to stop to smell a familiar scent. If they want to rest along the way, be patient and wait. Sometimes, a 10-minute walk filled with understanding is far more meaningful than an hour of strenuous activity that leaves them exhausted. Dogs don't measure their lives by how far they run or how long they play. They remember the moments spent with the people they love. And when old age takes away their health, what remains is the peace you bring them. Perhaps that's why, in their final days, what a dog desires most is no longer new adventures, but simply to lie peacefully beside you, listen to your familiar voice, and know that they never had to face old age alone. There's one final sign that many people remember vividly after saying goodbye to their dog. It's not when they stop eating or can't stand up. It's when they become unusually restless. They lie down and then stand up again, take a few steps and then turn back, changing positions repeatedly but seemingly unable to find comfort. Some dogs walk slowly around the room, stare at the door for a long time, or breathe heavily even without moving. These behaviors may indicate that their bodies are struggling to cope with pain or the decline of internal organs. If you notice these signs appearing repeatedly, don't try to guess the cause yourself or hope things will get better on their own. The right thing to do is take them to the veterinarian for examination and appropriate care. Today, there are many methods to help reduce pain and improve the quality of life for older dogs. Sometimes, what they need isn't more time, but days to live peacefully and without suffering. And whatever the outcome, please remember that the most precious thing you can give your dog isn't a new toy or an expensive meal. What they need most is your presence. Sit with them a little longer, pet them a little longer, talk to them in the voice they've heard their whole lives. They may not understand every word you say, but they always understand the feeling of security when their loved one is right beside them. There will come a day when the house becomes quieter. There will no longer be the sound of paws tapping on the floor every time you open the door. No more incessantly wagging tail every time you return. The longing will surely be immense. But if today you give your dog more time, more patience, and more love, then when you look back, you won't just remember the day they left. You will remember a lifetime that you two shared together. If this video helped you understand your four-legged friend better, please share it with others who also love a dog like you. And I'd love to hear your story too. Leave a comment. Tell me your dog's name and how many years it's been with you. Perhaps your story will bring hope and comfort to someone who is about to say goodbye to their loyal friend. See you in the next video.